At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, Marcus Aurelius reminds you, tell yourself, I am going to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of if this is what I was born to do? Or was you born to stay warm and huddle under the covers? The Stoics, known for their fortitude, strength of character, and their ability to not procrastinate or waste time, and to seemingly do everything at the right time and to do what is needed and to make the most of their time. Especially Marcus Aurelius, known as the philosopher king and last great emperor of Rome. He led his people through a time of darkness and turmoil during the Marcomannic Wars and the Antonine Plague, and he has gone down in history as one of the greatest leaders to have ever lived. How did they do this? How did they use their time wisely? How did they conquer the day? Well, here are 7 Stoic rules to conquer the day. Welcome back to The Everyday Stoic. I am William Mulligan. I simplify, modernize, and make practical the ancient philosophies so that you can use them in your life and become the best version of yourself. The Instagram page recently hit 500k followers, so to celebrate, we're having a sale on the store, 50% on the Memento Mori life calendar, which is the sponsor of today's video. I hope you enjoy. Rule number 1 is embracing the chaos. The Stoics understood that life is chaos. Every day we face challenges, aggression, accidents, rude people, things outside of our imagination, things that we could never predict. These things happen all around us. And the Stoics understood that to conquer your day, you must first understand that these things will happen or may happen. So at the start of the day, you think, I will head out into the chaos. I will embrace the chaos. I will be the rock amongst the storm, as Marcus Aurelius said. When the frantic and hectic nature of the world is going on around you, you can be the calm within it because you've already predicted these things to happen. You've said to yourself, I will face chaos, but I will be calm. And this removes their power. You've already predicted that these things will happen, so they no longer take you by surprise, and you remove their ability to disturb you. So when you go out about your daily commute, you embrace that people will push, will be rude. You may miss the bus may crash, anything could happen, but you expect that these things may happen and you come to terms with it and you go about your day. Rule number 2 to conquer the day is to seek truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his meditations a lot that you must seek the truth, that truth is good. The reason we seek the truth is to remove bias. It's to remove this emotional and biased standpoint we have on events and situations. So maybe someone says something and we take it as offensive because we've attached our emotion to it, we've attached certain opinions to it, and then we get offended, we get upset. And this removes our full ability to reason, and reason is our gift. So if you can seek the truth in a situation, if you can see an event from a third person point of view, you can look at it, remove the harm, and see what is truly there. So Marcus Aurelius says that truth is good. If someone says something about you and it is true, but maybe you're harmed, then you can actually see this thing as a gift. This person is telling you where there is a downfall because it's true. It's a character flaw that you have that is true. So you can improve on it. If it's not true, then it's just a made up lie from this person and it doesn't matter. The truth is good. We should seek the truth. When people argue, they argue to make themselves correct. They argue to get their point to be the correct point, when really they should argue or debate to find the truth, because that's what we're all chasing. The truth is constant. The truth doesn't care about emotions. It doesn't care about feelings. It doesn't care about anything that's attached to it. The truth is the truth. And when you start to seek the truth, many arguments will fall away. Many negative emotions you have to certain events and situations, they'll just fall away because you're only seeking the truth. It doesn't matter about all these things. That is why the Stoics chose a laconic style of speaking, as opposed to the Sophists at the time who spoke very emotive. They had their words dressed in a pretty curtain. The Stoics decided to simplify their words in a laconic style because they only spoke of the truth. And the truth doesn't need all these fancies to make it sound good. The truth is the truth, and the truth is what we should seek. Rule number 3 to conquer the day is to remember evil, but choose good. The Stoics taught us that evil exists, evil always exists, and this is a part of life. And Marcus Aurelius says, expecting rude people not to be rude is like expecting the fig tree not to produce figs, or for the fig tree to produce something else. It's just a fact of life. The way I oftentimes see rude people is the way I see a dog barking, or a bird chirping, or a pigeon cooing. It's just a thing of life. Rude people be rude. So when you see a rude person and they're being rude, you just view it as, oh, it's a rude person being rude. This is what they do. They can't help it. And if they can help it, and you know they can help it, then you can choose with your wisdom to help them. And if you can't help them, then don't let it disturb you. So, Marcus Aurelius says that evil exists. The Stoics taught that evil exists. It's everywhere in the world around us. But there is always a space for good. I'm often reminded in times of turmoil and chaos, when people are panicking, people need help. Of course, there is evil around, but there is always a chance for you to help. If you see a bad situation, you see someone in need, you can decide that you will be that good. Because evil exists, but so can good. You can put your good into that place. So the next time you see someone whose car is died on the road, or you see someone that needs help carrying their groceries, you can go right there and say, I will be the good. Because oftentimes people think someone else should do it, and then everyone has the same point of view, and then that person is left stranded with their car. Or that old lady can't lift her bags, because people see that there is a space for good, but don't believe that they can put themselves in that space. So, rule number 3 is to know that evil exists, but understand that you can put that good into the world. Rule number 4 is to remember others and our nature with others. The Stoics had a term called sympatheia. It's the understanding that our nature is closely tied to the nature of everyone around us. The way I see it is that we're part of this cosmic nature. And like the Stoics said, to do good for yourself should do good for others. And to do good for your others is doing good for yourself. So it's like looking after your community. If you do good for yourself and it does not benefit the world around you, then it is a selfish act. And when you understand this term sympatheia and that our nature is all connected, then you start to be more empathetic to people. You start to understand that maybe someone's rude because they're having the worst day of their life. Maybe that person needs a little bit of help. Maybe you can be that help. When you understand that we're all connected, then it helps you to see looking after yourself in terms of looking after the world around you. So being loving to yourself is being loving to the world, because you're being a better person for the world. Where people confuse this, they think being a better person to themselves is to be greedy, to take, to acquire more. If you're acquiring whilst taking, then this is not a net positive and is, as the Stoics said, is not good. Doing good for yourself should be doing good for others. So that is rule number 4. Rule number 5 from the Stoics, and possibly my most important rule, is to remember death. The Stoics have a term, memento mori, which means remember death or remember you are mortal. The idea of remembering you are mortal adds presence and gratitude for every single moment you have. People often put off life because they think they have 1,000,000 years to live. But yet Seneca reminds us that we behave as if we're immortals. We put off life believing that we can live another thousands of years. So we can put it off, we can keep putting it off. But we have to live right now. We have to do the things right now because we don't have long to live, and we have to be grateful and present in the time that we have. One way I remind myself of this is to just say to myself when I'm walking down the street, or I'm on public transport, or I'm just going about my day. Even right now, I say to myself, memento mori. I remind myself that I am mortal, and this moment right here is very precious. It's not something to just be scoffed at or thrown away. It's a very precious moment because it is all we have, and you cannot live this very moment again. Another way to remind yourself of your own mortality is to use a memento mori life calendar, like the one behind me. Reminding yourself every week, filling in a square of your life, it makes concrete the image in your life that each squares is 1 week of your life, and you can't just throw it away and waste it because it is finite. You can't live like you have an infinite amount of time to live. You have to live right now, in the here and now. So that is rule number 5. Remember death. The next rule from the Stoics is virtue over vice. And this is possibly one of the most important teachings from the Stoics. The idea is that in life there is either good, bad, or indifferent. Virtue alone is good. Vice alone is bad. And everything else is indifferent. So things like courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice, the 4 cardinal virtues of the Stoics, that is good. And bad, vice, is the complete opposite, cowardice, intemperance. And these things you should not chase. So you should aim throughout your day to live a life of virtue. You should keep these 4 virtues in your head: justice, temperance, wisdom, and courage. Keep them in your head and base your actions off of these virtues. And the opposite is avoid vices. Never go down the path of vice, because this is bad. And everything else in life, like wealth, health, fame, sports, entertainment, all these things are indifferent. And yes, they can be good, they can be bad. People say, well, how is health not good? Well, the health of an evil dictator is bad for the masses because it gives them more health to inflict harm. Wealth can be good, it can be bad, it depends who holds that wealth. There is preferred indifferences and dispreferred indifferences, but in life, I say, go down the path of virtue and avoid the path of vice. The last rule from the Stoics is to remember your own strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is disgraceful for the soul to give up long before the body ever does." The understanding that the Stoics had, especially Epictetus, who was a crippled slave turned philosopher, they understood that we have this strength within us, that we have this greatness within us, and everyone is capable of achieving this greatness. But we're often taught that we're not great, we're just normal, that we should just fit in, that we should just follow and listen to as people say, and we're not really that great. When really the Stoics taught us that we are great, we have such power within us. And Marcus Aurelius understood this, Epictetus understood this, Seneca understood this, and Zeno, when he founded Stoicism, off the foundations of his shipwreck, the biggest disaster in his life, a catastrophe, he lost everything and had brushed against death, he understood that we have this greatness within us, we have this strength within us. So when you go about your day, you need to understand, firstly, all of these rules, but lastly, that you have the potential. Everyone has this equal potential for greatness. And yes, people are born with different characteristics, different strengths, different weaknesses. People are born in a more privileged position, but you still have that potential for greatness. And like Marcus Aurelius says, we all have an equal foundation for that greatness. This goal that the Stoics tried to achieve, this goal of eudaimonia, everyone has an equal access to that goal. So Marcus Aurelius, who was the emperor of Rome, and Epictetus, who was a slave, they both believed in the same goal of eudaimonia, and that was the good that we should try to attain in this world. And you have access to that good. So remember that when you go about your day, remember all these rules and that you have access to this. So thank you for watching, and the Instagram hit 500k followers, and it's a huge Stoic community now. There's so many people joining in, teaching about Stoicism, sharing their opinions and thoughts on Stoicism and how it's helped them, what they've learned about it. And I think it's just amazing, this Stoic community that we're building together. And to celebrate hitting 500,000 followers on Instagram, I want to do a sale on the Stoic store, which you can see in the link in the description. But the Memento Mori calendar, there's 30% off on that. And I use this calendar every day. Although it's a weekly activity of filling in these squares, every day I sit here and film, or every day I walk into here and I see that. It's just a reminder that my time is limited. And the black filled in area, that's my past and it's gone. I can't do anything about that, so I should not worry about that. I should not ruminate on my mistakes, past mistakes. I should not even let that worry me because I can't do anything about it. And then all that unfilled white squares, that's the future. I can't do anything to change that. So I should not have anxious dependence upon the future because I cannot change it. So all I need to do is focus on that little square right there. That is the present moment right here. And I'm filling it in currently by filming these videos. I think it's a worthwhile goal of teaching people like you about Stoicism. I think Stoicism can help people. So I think I'm doing a good job of filling in that little white square. So you can get 50% off on other products on the store. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribers, members, everyone on Instagram at TheEverydayStoic, or my own page at MulliganBrothers. And thank you for everyone that's been buying the posters and sending me nice messages and nice comments. And go out into the day and conquer the day. And if you made it this far, like I say on every single video, all I want you to do if you made it this far is to incorporate those rules into the day. I want to know that you're using those rules into your day so that you are improving on your life and you're living in accordance with the Stoics. Thank you for watching.